Good evening. Um, Today, I just want to jump right into it. I just came back from coaching like I do in Philadelphia, actually coaching boxing MMA gym, and it's very encouraging today. I want to just share with you guys. I'll take all that. Just encouraging today because um, I believe where I'm at, it's not just about boxing or wrestling or MMA, but it's also about learning more about God and what He has for our lives and how to be successful. So we had a little opportunity workshop. It was on my heart to share with the youth slash young adults because we're hitting the summer season where everybody is out of school, and this is a push where people want to get jobs for the next few months to earn a little money and to not just have an ordinary summer. That being said, just like anything else, there are steps that we can take to be successful, and I just wanted to share that because I've learned how to get jobs and hold them successfully, and I want people to be successful in what they do and not just get a job, but get something that they're passionate about, because I think that's where our city's really going to change. If people are passionate about what they're doing, they're going to put that much more of their heart into it, and they're going to get more out of it, and other people get more of it as well. So just jumping right in, of course, my foundation for what I do and why I do it is the Bible. We're going to be going over that. We're also in this book that I've been reading personally myself, EntreLeadership by Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is normally known for his financial advice, but he also has this book on leadership, which I want to be able to share, not in full detail because I want you to go out and buy your own copy as well, but there's a couple of points I really want to point out when it comes to this topic of being able to identify opportunities and then take advantage of them. So anyway, so the purpose of even the talk that we had today that I want to put on YouTube so other people can chime in, or even my boxers can ask questions about, and we can build and grow. Purpose is to teach, encourage young men to take control and responsibility for their own professional development. Just like anything else, you can't do everything for other people. I've learned over a period of years now that if you try to do everything for everybody else, you're just going to waste a lot of time and energy. What you really have to do is teach men how to fish, and for them to catch their own fish so they can succeed. If they don't want it themselves, you can't want it enough for them to be successful. People have to stand on their own 2 feet. We have biblical inspiration. Now, you guys have been following here on YouTube. I've gone through the 7 days of creation. Actually, I don't think I've done the rest one, but I think everybody understands it, but we're going to go through that anyway. So we take every day, 7 days of creation that in Genesis, and then put a word with it, and it means something, and then we're supposed to apply it to our lives. So we'll step through it really quick. I'm not going to rehash everything, but essentially, in the beginning there was darkness, it was formless, empty, and that's pretty much life without God, right? God said, let there be light, and then there was light, which, puts a light on your life, lights your path. I mean, you get it, right? And with light, you can see clearly. Now, with hope, I actually utilize, there's something that comes out of Genesis, but I want to start utilizing some other places in the Bible. With hope, I used Moses. I used Moses for hope for a reason. Moses, of course, went through a lot of different things in the beginning. He had no control over where he went, floating in a basket in a river, right? But then it was on his heart to help out his people, the people that he knew was his, which were the Hebrew people. When he tried to do things on his own, and this was in Exodus chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, when he tried to do things on his own, he saw a Hebrew getting beat by an Egyptian. He went and tried to solve the problem his own way, and ended up killing the Egyptian guy. That's not good. Murder's not good. We know that, right? But because he had a hope for his people to have a better life, but he did it the wrong way. But of course, using God's way, we learn in Exodus chapter 14, verses about 21 to 28. He was able to, of course, with God leading, part the Red Sea, walk through it, get his people to the promised land, and the Egyptians that were of greed and of whatever, the evil people, whatever you want to call it, at the time. I'm not saying modern day Egyptians are evil. They pursued the Israelites, or the Hebrews, and they ended up drowning. Moses didn't kill people himself. Those people just went down because of their actions. And then the people he saved now wasn't murdering a person and saving one person. He wasn't murdering anybody, and he saved an entire nation. So we use that for hope. So those are the first 2 days, but day 3 is opportunity. Day 3 is what we're talking about here in Opportunity Workshop, and the person I used for that actually was David. And for 5 specific reasons. We all know the story, even if you're not a believer or not, we know the story of David and Goliath. Everybody knows the story of David and Goliath. What's cool about this story is to learn that David wasn't the entitled leader or the chosen person initially of what the world thought, the guy that should beat Goliath. Because that's in 1 Samuel chapter 17 verses 20 to 29, where David was actually the youngest. David wasn't, back in the day, and it's still kind of like that now, the oldest kid is the one that everybody looks at, and everybody behind them, like, it's like in order of what you expect, level of responsibility and all that stuff, and even the inheritance people get when somebody dies. David, I think, had like 7 brothers that were in front of him. And everybody thought at least one of those 7 were supposed to be greater than David. But when it came to pass, those ones weren't the ones that chose to follow what God had and be chosen by God in order to defeat Goliath. So he wasn't the entitled leader. He also wasn't the biggest. If you look at Samuel chapter 17 verses 38 and 39, they tried to put, when he did step up to the plate, it's like, look, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go beat Goliath. And everybody's like, you're nuts, but go ahead. They tried to put on armor, man-sized armor and swords and stuff like that on David. And he couldn't even carry it. You know, it's kind of like joining the military now and you can't hold an M16. You know, you can't hold, a Remington 870. You can't hold, you get what I mean, a Beretta M9. Those are what we use in the military. So you can't even hold those things. So he didn't even have the build. But the great thing is he had the right heart. And that's what God really wants. He decided to be himself. That's definitely a positive. He took off all that armor of somebody else. He can't live somebody else's life, can't live in somebody else's shoes. He's got to be who he was. So in verses 39 and 40, he took off what Saul gave him. It's like, look, this is the way I'm going to do it. And use what God gave him all along, which is his slingshot. More on that. God and David had a relationship. Now, obviously, if you listen to the way that David talked on his way up to this opportunity, it wasn't like this is something that happened overnight. This is something that was built over years of when he was performing his regular profession, he always had a relationship with God, and then now it's just the opportunity that popped up for him to actually live it out more. And that brings us to the other part. David was already doing the job. David had a flock. David had his slingshot. The reason why a shepherd has a slingshot in the first place, they use those rocks in order to keep away like the wolves or bears or whatever like that, lions, whatever you want to call it, whatever animal it is. And he was very proficient at using his slingshot. So he was already doing the job when he was called to do this bigger job now, which we'll see a little bit when we cover in this book real quick. When you're going for opportunity, when you are hiring somebody, you want somebody that's already doing the job on their own. And if you're trying to get hired, if you're going for your passion and your dream, you should be already doing the job. Nobody should have to tell you, and nobody should be even having to pay you to do it. You should be doing this on your own. So here in EntreLeadership, we're actually in chapter 7. So if you get your own copy, if you have your own copy, I'm sitting around page 134. I made some highlights. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because I want to be a little respectful to Mr. Ramsey of not giving away all the information that he has in here. I want you to read it on your own. Very basic. Every business is built at least for one thing, and hopefully at least over 2. One is every business is built to make money. You have to realize that going in. If you think that you're going in there and their job is to pay you, you're in the wrong mindset. A business is there to make money, and you're supposed to be hired there to help them make money. And you have to keep that in your mind when you're trying to go get a job. Okay? Their job isn't there to sit there and satisfy you. You bring something to the team, and if you don't bring something to the team, you need to be off the team or not even join in the first place. Because the person hired properly will perform better, will not cause problems, and will be more likely to stay. And that's why an employer wants to invest in you, because they want you to not cause problems. They want you to perform better than the average people out there, and they want you to stay so they don't have to keep on training somebody new, because that takes time, effort, and money. The biggest thing I have to, because Dave Ramsey is a God-fearing man as well, the first thing he does when he's trying to hire somebody is he prays about it. Which on the flip side, you're the one person trying to get hired. Are you praying about what God has for you in your life? Especially the direction. Like, you can't just be all over the place. When you're looking for a place, it needs to be specific. And hopefully it's in the direction of where you really think you're supposed to be. If you're, big into art, applying to an accountant firm, it's probably not your best bet. Just going for a job because of the money is like the wrong reason. I know certain ends have to meet, but in the end, you're going to be a whole lot better going for what your passion is. I'm going to skip over a couple of these, even though I think they're a little important. I like what he said here about resumes and references. A resume is a great place to begin several conversations where you will discover what a person is really about. Since most people have the good sense to put down only references who will say good things about them, references are generally useless. But we do check references, because if a person is stupid enough to list references who don't know we are going to call, or stupid enough to list references who aren't going to say nice things about them, then we consider them too stupid to hire. He actually says in the book, he's a really down-to-earth kind of guy. I actually like what he says there. Take that. I mean, the way to say that a little more positively as well is your references should know what's really on your heart. And if your references can't speak well of what you've done to support you applying to specific jobs, then that's not good. Which goes back to, are you already doing what your passion is? Is the job that you're interviewing for what your passion is? Which is really what I have to say here, and this is to me, this is the biggest part. I'm gonna end this part here, because there's other important parts, but right here on page 142, do they light up? Your employer, if they're a good employer, some people just want somebody that can flip burgers or whatever like that, but do they light up? Your employer wants to know if this is really on your heart, if he really cares about his business and his employees. You don't need to be told to do something that you truly enjoy. You don't need to be prompted. Somebody doesn't have to wake you up. You do this on your own. I told you I do coach boxing. My boxers move through a program of C team, B team, A team, amateur, and pro. Through that entire process until they become pro, they don't get paid at all. Nobody even asks to get paid, because it's an understood thing. But if you become a pro, you've worked for probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 years to get to that point. You've put in the work. You've proven through your body of work that you want that opportunity. You're willing to go get it, and you're willing to stay consistent over a long period of time. You've proven it. Why isn't it the same in the workforce? Okay? If you want to be a chef one day, you should be trying to work in a restaurant. And on top of that, this bothers me a lot. You should not be above washing dishes. I did it for plenty of years. You should not be above washing dishes. You should not be above cleaning the bathroom. You should not be above cleaning a toilet, because I've done it too. Okay? If you're sitting there being choosy and picky, guess what? You don't really want the opportunity. There's plenty of people from other countries that come to this United States of America that don't even speak English, and they're making it. Okay? So for you to be sitting around on your couch being choosy and going, oh, I don't have a job. I turn down opportunities every week. I pass so many places that have help wanted signs on there. I don't believe a second about this whole economy thing at all, because I get offered work all the time. And if somebody is just looking for a job, they're going to be a drag. They're going to be an absolute drag. And if I got to point and click you, if I have to do everything for you, I might as well just do it on my own. I don't want to have to drag somebody, because guess what? I have to worry about your benefits. I have to worry about your payroll. I have to worry about it if you're coming to work, if I'm putting myself out there. I've put myself personally out there for people I hired, and they didn't show up because they didn't have the passion to show up. They didn't have, don't even get me started. And I had to make up for it. And I don't want to be there ever again. So I'm going to hire smart too. On top of that, I've had nice Christian people come to work for me because somehow they got the idea Christian is a code for don't have to work hard. I think that's a misconception that people have, that Christians don't even know how to work hard and can't hold people accountable. I like this book here because it's so straightforward in your face that you can't deny its truth. And I love truth. I really do. It's hard to swallow sometimes, but it's definitely needed. So what I encourage for people to do, praying about where you are and where you want to be, and to find real steps to get there. And if you have to volunteer at a place for a month, 2 or 3, without getting paid at all, but showing up, do it. If that gets closer to your dream, if you have to sacrifice 3 months for the rest of your life to be able to live the way you want to live instead of the way you have to live, do it. You'll be better off for it in the end. Okay? You walk into a place, and also you build good references. There's plenty of places you can volunteer, as well as I give the example to the boxers. You come in there and work hard. There's other opportunities to clean the place, do whatever, and then put us on your resume, and we can speak highly of you if you work hard. If you don't work hard, I'm going to tell you, you're lazy. Don't let people off the hook. That's why people don't want somebody's mom on their resume, because the mom's always going to say something nice. Even if the guy's a turd, he's a turd. I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you. But get out there. If you want to be in a restaurant, get in there. Find a way to get in. And on top of that, there's more to come out of this on how to be professional, even asking for the opportunity. If you want to work in fashion, you better learn how to sew. If you want to work with cars, you can go to a shop and say, look, I'm willing to clean the shop with a broom, and that's it. And you'll pick up all sorts of information. When somebody sees that you have heart, the more people will come around you and try to help you out, but after they know that you're real about it. So then you can learn how to change oil. Then you know how to do spark plug change outs and rotors and caps and all sorts of stuff. And the next thing you know, you're rebuilding engines. It doesn't happen by accident. The idea is to use the Bible and other God-fearing people and other information to learn it, know it, and apply it to our lives for success. An opportunity is out there. You have to learn how to get it, and then you have to go do it. So if you got suggestions, or you got comments, or whatever, feel free to just throw them down at the end of this video and at the bottom comments. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And this is just what we're doing in Philly. Maybe you're doing something different, something cool going on in your city. Feel free to share that as well, because I hope that we can identify opportunities and take advantage of it and change our city for the better. Thanks for joining me today for this little opportunity workshop. Thank you, Dave Ramsey, for your book again. Thank you, God, for your Bible. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Have a good night.